Welcome to a new fragrance review. Today, we're gonna answer the question that many people ask themselves: are Creed fragrances actually niche fragrance or just expensive designer fragrances? So, are Creed fragrances niche or designer? You might know that I don't like the term niche, but I will go on with this. So, first of all, are those fragrance designer? And the answer is really easily answered because a designer fragrance, and I know a lot of people would say designer fragrance might include more than just like actual designers, but a designer fragrance, by definition, is fragrance made by a designer. So Creed is not a designer. Therefore, Creed fragrance are not designer fragrance. Now, do they have that same kind of quality, the same kind of type of fragrance that designer brand would do? Maybe, but still not a designer fragrance by definition. Now, for niche fragrance, is it a niche fragrance? Now, the problem is that niche mean nothing. Niche mean a narrow market, a narrow and specific market. And this is why I hate that term, because if you make fragrance only for women, well, it's niche fragrance. If you make fragrance only for men, it's niche fragrance because you make fragrance for a specific niche. You could think of Aramis. Aramis is a niche fragrance. Everyone will say, no, it's designer, but it fits with the definition of what niche is. It's really small. And I would say many company might be a designer and also make niche fragrances. Tom Ford would be a good example for that. Tom Ford is a famous designer. His fragrance, a lot of people will say they're niche fragrance, and I think they are. And just by the definition of they have a small market, mean that it's a niche fragrance. Now, what people usually mean with a niche fragrance, it would mean something high quality, something typically a bit more artistic than really something that is made for the mass. But the problem with that is that it can also overlap with those two definitions. Creed is a good example. They do things that are really mass appealing, but they do it in a really high quality. Tom Ford that I use as an example, they do a little bit of both. They do things that are really artistic, but a lot of people will say that the quality is not there for a lot of fragrance, or they could do things that are more mass appealing, that are good quality. So vary from fragrances to fragrance. Creed, therefore, could fit in both and in neither category of designer or niche. I think that really what makes a big problem is the definition of what niche and designer is. And the reality is that there's another category that is often considered as a distinct category of niche and designer, and it's a cheapie. And Creed actually is a cheapie and fit in that category with the whole complete definition of what a cheapie is. It's mass appealing fragrance. Typically, cheapie will say that will have some kind of problem, and Creed are known for having fragrance that doesn't last so long, at least for a couple of them, namely Aventus, and it has to be cheap. And Creed actually is a cheap fragrance. It's a cheap fragrance for its market. Now you would imagine Creed to be like a big company with expensive fragrance, but think about who's the market for Creed. The market is not fragrance collector that like those type of fragrance. That's a super small market, and it's not a good market for big companies to sell to. Like fragrance enthusiasts will buy fragrance anyway, so they don't have to really market to those people. It's their actual client base that is broader, which is to sell their fragrance. And if you look where Creed fragrance are sold, you'll see that it's typically in place where they sell clothes, and clothes that are expensive. So the actual client of Creed is someone that will go, let's say a man that will go buy a couple of suits, 2 suits, couple of shirts, want to renew his wardrobe, and not like tons of clothes, 2 suits, 5 shirts, maybe a necktie. At the end, all of this costs $25,000. And next to the cash register, there's, oh, that's a little bottle of Creed. Let's smell it. Smells good. Just $1,000. put it on the bill. That's the client of Creed. That's why I say it's a cheapie. Now it's a cheapie for people that are super rich, but it's a cheapie nonetheless. I think Creed, if you look at the definition what a cheapie is, Creed fit perfectly in that definition, at least for their client base. So hope you enjoyed the video. If it's the case, like and share. If you have an other opinion than me, just put it in comment. I'd be happy to hear from you. So thanks for watching and see you soon.